Yo, yo, what is up, everybody? Coach Chad here, the CEO of the Next Level Coaching Academy and the creator of the Fit CEO podcast by Chad Molyneux. I hope you guys are doing fantastic and rocking and rolling on whatever day it is that you're listening to this. Usually these launch on Monday, but who knows? You could be listening to this. It could be 2023 for all I freaking know. All right, let's get into it. Got another great one for you guys today. Hiring assistant coaches seems to be like the new thing. Like everybody's hiring assistant coaches. Like it doesn't matter where your business is at, you have to hire an assistant coach is basically what I'm seeing at least. And I want to debunk that because there are some really big mistakes that people are making when hiring assistant coaches, and it's literally setting up their business success for absolute freaking failure. All right. So we got four different mistakes that people are making, and we're going to bang them out. So let's get into it. Number one, people are hiring assistant coaches way too early. And the reason I think this is I think people are equating more assistant coaches with more business success. And I can promise you that's not true, especially if you don't have your system set up. Like if your business is just in an absolute disarray, you don't feel confident operating your own systems. You don't feel confident explaining your systems to somebody else, then you probably shouldn't hire somebody, because if the systems are broken, no matter how many assistant coaches you have, it's not going to fix the problem of broken systems. All right. So make sure that all of your systems are more or less down pat. You feel confident with them. You feel confident that you can explain them to anybody. You feel confident that you could pull somebody off the street and say, hey, operate these systems that I have listed out for you. And they could do it with basically ease. All right. That's the point that you should be at before hiring an assistant coach. Because if you're not at that point, that assistant coach is going to come in and they're going to be wildly confused. They're going to think that you're wildly confused. They're not going to believe in you as a manager and leader of the company. And they're probably going to leave if they're a good assistant coach, that is. Okay. Number two, you don't have any consistent lead gen systems. You're not getting leads consistently. You don't feel confident with your sales process. You're closing under 50% of your calls. These are all telltale signs that you probably are not at the place where you're ready to hire an assistant coach. Because if you don't have your sales skills up to par, or the person on your team who's taking your sales calls isn't performing very well, and you and your company aren't really generating a lot of leads, why would you need an assistant coach? It's going to be really, really hard for you to fill up their roster if the sales are suffering. All right. So a couple of key things that you guys need before hiring is you need to have those clear-cut systems. You need to have consistent leads, and you or whoever's taking your sales calls needs to be an efficient closer. They need to be closing at least 50%. Okay. Now, here's when you should be hiring assistant coaches. You should be hiring assistant coaches when you feel confident with your systems, you feel confident with your lead gen process, you feel confident with your sales process, but there's one more that I've left out. When you can't take any more clients anymore. Okay. We have in our company, Next Level Coaching Academy, we have a saying where we say, hire when it hurts, right? And what I mean by that is the goal is not to have as many employees as possible. The goal is to max out the staff members that you have before bringing on another one, right? Less is more, in my opinion. If I can get the same result as other people who have 30 employees and I have 15 employees, I'm winning. I'm winning because I don't have to spend as much. I don't have to manage as much people. And I'm getting the same result as somebody else who needs 30 people when I have 15 people, right? That's how I operate. That's how I think. I think, how can I do more with less people? But there always comes a point where it hurts and your staff is like, Chad, I can't do any more. Like, I need help. At that point, that is when you hire. That's when you hire. So when you get to the point where you're like, man, I can't take any more sales calls. I can't do any more team outreach. I can't take any more clients. Then you can hire an assistant coach. All right. And if you're looking for, I break this down in depth in the Hiring 101 module. So, or not module, sorry, the Hiring 101 podcast. When you dive into that podcast, I break down exactly when and how you should hire. So highly recommend that you go and listen to that podcast, Hiring 101. All right. So that's mistake number one. Mistake number one is people hire too soon. They don't have clear systems. They don't have any sales skills. They don't have any lead gen. They're just seeing other people hiring and they're like, huh, that's probably why I should hire. Or if I want to be successful, I need to have assistant coaches. And that just couldn't be any farther from the truth. Okay. So number 2 and number 3 are both around the way people are paying their assistant coaches. I'm going to say these as 2 points. And then after I go over these 2 points, I'm going to tell you how you should be paying your assistant coaches. Okay. And this is what we teach our students in the Next Level Coaching Academy in our mastery program. Our mastery program is for students that are looking to scale, looking to hire, looking to build out their teams, their culture, and looking to gain leadership skills. All right. So way number 1 that people are paying their assistant coaches that is setting them up for failure is they're paying their assistant coach a base salary. And this is the fastest way for you to not make any money. And the reason this is the fastest way for you not to make any money is because now you're saying, hey, I'm guaranteeing you X amount of money a month, right? So let's just say it's $6,000. Let's say, all right, I'm going to bring on assistant coach. I'm going to pay them $6,000, or I'm going to pay them an hourly rate of $30, whatever it is, wage, salary. Here's why you're setting yourself up for failure. Let's say you have a bad month, or let's say you have a couple of bad months, right? Where not many leads are coming in, you're not closing many deals. You are still obligated to pay that person for their work, even though the company didn't make any money, right? Which, like I said, if you have a couple of bad months in a row, man, and you have, let's say, 4 or 5 assistant coaches that you're paying $6,000 a month. Now you owe people $30,000 a month. If you had 6 assistant coaches, or 5 assistant coaches rather, paying them $6,000 a month, you're screwed, right? You're screwed. Now not only are you not getting leads, not only are you not getting sales, but now you're obligated to pay these people because you're paying them on a wage basis or a salary basis. Okay. So highly recommend that you do not pay people or do not pay assistant coaches rather on that basis, on a wage basis or on a salary basis. And like I said, I will explain the proper way to pay an assistant coach once I get through this next point. And this one bothers me a lot too. Paying your assistant coaches a percentage of the package. You might as well just give them equity in the company at that point, right? Because when you're paying somebody a percentage of the package, you're paying them a percentage of your sales, which, like I said, you're basically giving away equity and stake in your company, which is completely asinine. And here's another reason why it doesn't work. Let's say you want to go to raise your prices. Let's say you're charging $250 a month and you want to start charging $400 a month. Now, if you're paying your assistant coach a percentage of the package, they just got a raise for doing no extra work. You just jumped the package from $250 a month to $400 a month. And because they're getting a percentage of that overall sale, they just got a raise for doing no extra work, and it didn't improve the margins, right? The reason that you increase prices is so that you can increase your margins. Pretty simple, right? But you won't ever be able to increase your margins if, your assistant coach is tied to that via a percentage. So highly recommend that you don't pay your assistant coaches on a percentage basis. You might as well at that point just make them a stake owner in the company. All right, here's what you need to do instead. Okay, what you need to do instead is you need to pay your assistant coaches a set dollar amount per client. So this way, they only get paid for clients on their roster. So even if they have 1 client on their roster, you are making money, not losing money, right? Here, let me break out the math for you math people. So let's say you charge $400 a month. Let's say that you pay the assistant coach $90 per client, right? So $90 per client, 400 minus 90 equals 310. Even if you have 1 client, now you're profiting $310 off of that 1 client, and you will never, ever, ever, ever lose money, because let's say that 1 client decides to leave. Now the assistant coach is not going to get paid because that client is no longer on their roster. So they're only getting paid for clients on their roster, and they should only be getting paid a set dollar amount, because let's say you want to go raise your prices, it doesn't mean that they're automatically getting a raise. And now you've created a greater discrepancy between what they get paid and what the company gets paid. So now you have larger margins, right? And the reason you want larger margins is so you can take that extra money, you can hire more staff members, you can put more into marketing, and you can grow the overall company. Makes sense, right? So let's do out the math, right? So you're probably like, oh man, I'm only going to pay my assistant coach $90 per client. How is that person going to make a livable wage? Well, what we teach our students in NLCA is depending on how your service is structured. You will pay them depending on the structure of your service. So if you have a really high end service where you're doing Zoom calls all the time, you're doing more than one time a week check-ins, that assistant coach is going to get paid more per client, right? So let's say you're charging, usually when people are doing weekly Zoom calls and things of that nature, $600 a month is like typically on the low end. So let's say that that's the case. That means that that coach would probably be getting paid about 150 to 200 bucks a month per client if the company is making 600, right? So if that person, let's do out some quick math. So if that person has 30, if you're paying that person 200 bucks a month per client and you're charging 600 bucks a month, right? So 600 minus 200 is 400. And that individual has, let's say 30 clients, 400 times 30 means that the company is making $12,000 a month off of that one client, right? Or that one coach. And let's say they were getting paid 200 bucks per client on that $600 a month package, 200. And let's say that once again, they have 30 clients, 200 times 30 means that they're getting paid $6,000 a month, right? Multiply that out by 12. That means they're getting paid $72,000 a year. Not bad, right? Now, let's say you're on the higher end, meaning you want to take more clients, right? You want your assistant coaches to have more clients. And I don't know if I said this because I'm speaking kind of fast, but we help our students determine whether they have a high-end service or they have a lower package service, like a cheaper service, on how many clients their assistant coach can take. Because if they have a higher service, they're going to take less clients, right? Because it's more workload. Probably take between 30 to 50 clients. But if you have just one time a week, WhatsApp check-ins, 24/7 access to you, usually the packages are right around $300 a month, right? And that means that the assistant coach can take a lot more clients. They could take, 80, sometimes even 100 clients. So let's say it's $300 a month, right? Let's say that you're paying that assistant coach 90 bucks a month per that $300 package. So that means there's 210 bucks left over. Let's say that that individual has 80 clients. Multiplied by 80, that means that the company is making $16,800 a month off of that assistant coach. Let's say, once again, 90 times 80. 90 is the amount the assistant coach gets paid. 80 is the amount of clients they have on their roster. That means that that assistant coach is making $7,200 a month. Multiply that by 12 means that that assistant coach is making $86,000 a year, right? Now, this is for real. Like, these are real numbers that our NLCA students are making per assistant coach because we've set up their pay structure the right way, right? Where no matter what, no matter how many clients that assistant coach has on their roster, the business owner is always going to profit because they're doing a set dollar amount. They're not doing a percentage, and they're not doing hourly wage, and they're not doing salary. All right. So if you get anything out of this podcast, I hope this is the thing that you take away. Do not do those two pay structures because those pay structures are trash. Sorry, just being honest. Okay, let's move on. My last point. My last point is hiring somebody who wants to be a business owner. So I see a lot of people making this mistake. They don't ask this question in their interview process. Somebody comes in, somebody's with them for 6 months, learns everything, and then leaves and replicates in their own and creates their own business, right? So you have to ask this question in your interview process. You have to ask them if they have any interest in being a business owner. I highly recommend that you do not hire people that want to be a business owner, even if they tell you they don't want to be a business owner for 5 years. From my experience, once again, it's usually a crock of shit, and they typically come in and at some point they leave, and at some point they create their own thing using the systems that you taught them. So highly recommend that you find somebody that has no interest in being the business owner, that literally just wants to be the assistant coach. All right. So wrapping this all up, the big mistakes are hiring too soon. The pay structure's wrong. Either people are doing wage or monthly salaries or percentage. Assuming that more assistant coaches equals more success without having systems, without having consistent leads, and without having sales, and then hiring somebody that wants to be a business owner. Now, I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to give you guys an opportunity here. So we created a program called the Assistant Coach Academy. Now, the Assistant Coach Academy helps both people who want to be assistant coaches and the business owner. So we'll bring people in that want to be assistant coaches. We'll put them through the Assistant Coach Academy, which is also partnered with OFNC, the Online Fitness and Nutrition Certification that DLD or DAILA created. So the assistant coach goes through ACA, which teaches them all the skills they need to be a really good assistant coach. They also go through OFNC, which teaches them coaching application. Once they complete their OFNC exam and they're officially certified, they then enter what we call our employment pool. All right. So now they're in the employment pool. As you guys know, we also own the Next Level Coaching Academy, which teaches people how to become business owners. And we have people looking for assistant coaches all the time when they get to that level. So then what we do is we pair the two and we play matchmaker, and we help the assistant coach find a team that they're passionate about, and boom, it's a match made in heaven. Now, you don't have to be an NLCA to enter our employment pool. We do have a website. If you go to the Assistant Coach Academy Instagram, you'll see our website there. And I explain it. You'll see the two pathways, and you can apply if you're a business owner into our employment pool, where you can find, where you can find other assistant coaches that are looking for work. So anyways, hopefully you guys found this valuable. Hopefully there was some nuggets in there for you guys. I appreciate you guys listening. If you enjoyed this, screenshot it, tag me up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.